In fact, the effect of the new legislation will simply be to bring Hong Kong into line with other jurisdictions which also have their own national security laws. For example, the United States has numerous national security laws. I'm told there's over 12 of them, including in more recent times the Homeland Security Act and the Patriot Act. Other countries in this part of the world, for example, such as Singapore, Malaysia, they all have their own national security legislation. And countries and regions, they have to have their own security legislation. So this is simply bringing Hong Kong into line with international practice. And it's something which is long overdue. And unfortunately, as I say, the legal void which is been created since 1997 has been exploited by people who are hostile to China. And that's why the situation has to be rectified.
澳門嘅變化咧就極之大，到今時今日嘅20週年回歸啦。希望繼續好，身為自己澳門人喺澳門生活係一路路繁榮，一路路好係最開心嘅。澳門市民支持中國，慶祝回歸20週年。
Well, of course, it was a great show of faith in both Macau and Hong Kong that the National People's Congress allowed them to enact their own laws on national security. In all other countries that I'm aware of, it's always dealt with at the national level by the national parliament and not dealt with by regional assemblies. But it was a huge show of faith in both of the special administrative regions that the central authorities allowed them to enact their own laws. Why did they do that? Well, I'm sure it's part of their plan to reassure people and to let them know that after their reunification with China, there was nothing for them to worry about and they could enact laws themselves which suited their own particular circumstances. Macau, of course, responded positively to that, and they enacted their law within 10 years, which seems a reasonable time frame, but Hong Kong, of course, has failed to act for 23 years. As to how it's worked in Macau, well, the national security law there covers such things as terrorist type activity, sedition, subversion, secession, and theft of state secrets, and apparently it's worked extremely well. Indeed, even though some people prophesied that once this law was brought in Macau the skies would fall in, nothing of that sort has happened. And I'm even told that there have actually been no cases in Macau in the 11 years since the law was introduced. So that strongly suggests, in my view, that the law is working effectively, that people have taken heed of it, and that any people, whether they be in Macau or elsewhere, were tempted to try and destabilize Macau, this particular law has discouraged them from doing any of that sort of activity. So if I'm right on that, I think I am, then it's had a wholly salutary effect. And of course, in Macau as well, in 2018, a National Security Commission was also established, which meets twice a year, and that advises the government, and it promotes such things as sovereignty, security, and the advancement of the national interest. And again, I understand that's worked well and has promoted confidence in the system.